here before 5 o'clock. And we're looking for the psycho pop in the euro dollar to start engulfing and crushing down on this zone here. And all the scalpers will be coming in for their first minor pullbacks. But I wouldn't I put my clusters up. I guess this is why people are using Fibonacci. If you use Fibonacci as like a cluster bomb, 5 fibs that are just staggered like 1 fib from each other, right? So if you're really going to trade Fibonacci, you need to realize there's a fib within the fib at some point, right? That's the fractal idea. And you're going to have to lay all those tickets. Or you're going to wait for the market to get very quiet on the daily chart. Now, I know the infamous no-nonsense guy can't quite figure out the overbought, oversold thing. And 80% of the market's ranging. So if you do have stops based on the ATR of the last day, look back period, 1 bar. I can't handle it, man. Yeah, I know. See, the ATR day by day goes from like barely moving to crushing in one direction, barely moving, 3 dojis. You know, this should be obvious, the trade plan there. And what do you think we're going to crush into? I mean, it can't be a surprise to people at this point. I'm missing a tool here on my thing. Oops. The rectangle, they never include the rectangle because I guess this is the thing. The bankers don't want you to trade against them. Let's face it. If you don't think the big banks have already like looked over your shoulder when you're placing a penny, they're like, this guy gets it. We're fucked. Oh my God, what are we going to do now? Okay, rectangle. They don't want you to, they don't talk about it's not on the default. Never. Okay, so that's in our toolbox. Some guy said that the no-nonsense guy was giving away tools. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Never talk bad about candlesticks because if you only put 20 of them on the screen, you can get your brain around it. Yes, let's face it, if I start to go like this, you're going to lose your mind. And if I go like this, and 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 I go like this, it'll be like, well, it's a completely different view than like all that shit in the going back, like these are monthly slots here, doesn't really matter now unless you're going to plan on living for the next 20 fucking years and you're getting into some monster position and you chose the right direction. What the fuck are you thinking? And people are, well, I back tested. Yeah, I know, I can see the signals actually in the RSI here. If you look closely enough, you can see it, you know. But you're going to kill yourself. Then, so from that, you have MT4 now. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 zoom. But I would prefer even one more zoom. The only way to get around that is to take this and drag it over. And if you're going to scalp this, now you got 4 hour in the rear view mirror, you got this top become a bottom chart here. You're going to just pull them. You're going to pull the trigger right there, right? So that was your entry. You just missed it. It just turned 5 p.m. I don't have my clock on this computer. I'm on my backup system since my other computer's in rehab. And here we just closed. See, the proof is fresh candle, right? So totally bullish candle, ba-boom. Okay, but you're not necessarily selling like a fuck nut. Maybe a little bit because it's overbought now. Yes, you bought the 30 and you sold the 70. You kind of, in this idea of having an exit thing, dude, that's a trade. That's the end of the trade. I mean, that's it. But you need 10 of those. How are you existing on a daily setup that comes by on your radar that you're so smooth and dialed, and he's talking about putting moving averages on indicators? Dude, I got it. We've all seen that bullshit. Do you have a trade plan for that? That actually includes the so-called retail flush. The bombastic last little tick on one day. And maybe you didn't get filled on the orders that you put down here at the very, very bottom. But the tickets that you put down here, right? If you just took it from the body of the candle and brought it forward, that whole window is buyable. And you can't necessarily babysit the market for these entries, so you just commit to buying that area. It's just that simple. And maybe it's never going to go down there and you wasted your time putting the orders in, but you're not going to blow up the account never getting filled. You could still put buy limits down here and say, you know what, I could see it going down. This is my 14 period simple moving average right there. I have a 3-period RSI. I see there's no divergence here on this lift off here, but I'm on the daily. If I go to the 4-hour, I can get divergence. Okay. Now look at, we're going up higher now. This is the bum rush. It's 2 minutes after 5 p.m. now, and we probably see them start to go hunt down the bear stop now. So it's going to be a stop run on the bears. The scalp window for me would start here for set it and forget it. It's also the floor of the, turn off these, what's taking up too much real estate here is the one-click instant execution stuff. Here, up at this window, and this is the classic, this looks just like the British Pound Monthly. Take a look at the British Pound Monthly. I think it's right after Soros gets out at like 240 or something. It's like this on the monthly, and it's just catastrophic, and it just keeps melting down. Look at this thing. 3 days in a row, nothing going on. Holy shit. Even mechanical traders that are just stacking up sell stops, waiting for it to start filling this giant hole left behind from this insane, blistering rally where it goes harder each day. That's the best 4-day run I can think of, and I don't know how long. And what is the cause of that fucking run? Well, there's a couple of things there. If you take a little bit more chart space and go, let's see what the cause and effect is on the daily of just trading structure. This bullshit about there's no such thing as support and resistance is complete, utter fucking stupidity. Also, the fact that there's not traps, or it's a trap if you're getting in on giant breakouts. If you're getting in on a monthly breakout wick, yeah, you're being trapped, because when you look at the daily, you're like, holy shit, this is not the breakout I thought it was. If you put a buy stop here like a fucking idiot, and you get long here, really big, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm good, because I got to stop down here. Actually, you maybe survived it. But you are so underwater. Like, actually, if you don't get into a different trade plan here, so the market's telling you what to do. At the end of the day, if it's a doji, it's saying to you, I'm not doing anything. But what am I about to do? And if it's already doing it, in my opinion, unless you can drop down to the 15 and get the fuck on that train, you just wait. You're either going to have to wait a day and a half or an hour and a half, or whatever your depth of tickets are. If you're 15 pips deep in the market, they might fill in 1 hour. They might fill in easily 1 day. If you're going to say, I placed an order 50 pips deep on the euro dollar, and it lasts all day long, and I've got a 300 pip stop on it, you're saying, it's like if you're playing a card game, you could tell if somebody's bidding like that, you can see what their strategy is. But this is like playing a bunch of card games, right? There's no limit to how many card games you can run. The thing is that, are you betting on the odds of just the market either going up or down, or did you choose a real true structure slot on the history that everybody knows, and also when the volatility dries up, something's got to give. If it's only to shake loose into a feeding zone, there's no way these markets are going to fucking move. The longer they go sideways, and you're up in the air thing here, like, I can't really delete any of these objects, so you're stuck with what I wrote on here. But this, above this line. When you go above there and you're saying, oh, it's bullish, and okay, maybe you did get in before, hopefully, okay, this is the hope, is that you knew that somebody was running a money management. All the bears were running their protection here. The ones that got in on the last breakout. So we can see the whole story as it unfolded from a volatility open to close standpoint. And that's another thing. I think I made an indicator once, or I took the indicator, the ATR, and made it a open to close indicator. So it's very dramatic. It's like if the market really went pounding, so here it'd be very like you can't even see anything. But there's a trade plan for a doji that doesn't really exist from a wick breakout standpoint, because there is a trade plan that you should be launching here, and it involves maybe the wick to the body, but not the top of the wick. So you're just isolating a portion of the data and donating that to that trade plan. It's going to be, okay, this is happening. So right now, unless I'm jumping on the 5-minute train here, I'm going to scalp this into Asia now for the one more price pulse, and we crush into this thing. You could have gone flat at the end of the day, and what I did here is I dropped in buy limits now. So I'll buy like 5. You could buy Fibonacci. You could buy 5, 13, 21, 34, all that bullshit, 55. All Fibonacci is doing is trying to give people better than 50% leverage, right? It's the idea that it's going to be worth it in the end. Actually, it's going to be 4 times worth it. If you go like 8x, you have some 8x tickets in there maybe. But those setups, like this break out of these 3 daily dojis, it took forever to set up. But you can see the constriction. It's obvious what's going on there. There's not enough buyers or sellers to push it, or it's just people, maybe people aren't participating. They're in and they've got their stops, and as soon as they get their stops triggered, it feeds on itself. Or maybe you want to imagine that those are big bankers in there and they're just huffing and puffing, they're smoking cigars, and they're waiting to just crush your account because you're all bullish now because it's going up. It's harebrained stuff. And so it's only because you're in that trade that it matters, right? So if you're the only guy that's trading the daily candlesticks and everybody else is on the 1-hour chart and they're like, I can't believe you're buying that. And you're like, I can't believe you're fucking selling it. They're like, this is really 3 days down into this fucking support area. Well, that can't be support because it missed it by 12 pips. I'm thinking support area. I would never think one price. How could you in a market that lets you trade incrementally, even in mini lots, if you went as chunky as mini lots, and you just like, okay, I'm in this trade and that's it. But if you just traded 2Ks instead of 1Ks, you're already putting 50% more of your account at risk. You're really going pretty hard into the account. Because in 4 hours or 8 hours from now or 12 hours from now will be a completely different price. And to be able to get on this bull before it has a spaz attack in the direction that you have loaded the wagon in, even from anybody from a reversal standpoint to a trend trader wants to be in as big as they can be and take something away as it leaves the launching pad, right? You're going to burn a lot trying to re-enter and of course the people that are waiting for the indicators to catch up have to endure the punishment of re-entering what they perceive to be a perfectly good trade, and it may be. And yeah, trends do exist, but they are so fickle as far as their duration. Yes, trends exist, but the duration is what's distorting the ability for you to, in a linear world, if you get up every day at some type when the sun comes up or the birds tweet, the market doesn't have that kind of behavior. And it also has this pent up supply demand tension. It's not that there's a supply and demand zone. It's like it's a constant flux of like, okay, well now it's look at this. And when the FOMC came out, nothing happened. Like I thought, well, what time is it? Are you kidding? Like that's nothing. Yeah, because they came out the news before. That's the new deal. They try to diffuse volatility by pre-announcing stuff like, well, we're going to go in this direction, or there's somebody leaks something or whatever they saw. Trilateral Commission leaks something or something like that. Some kind of crazy shit. I just noticed my video is kind of crooked there. Sorry, I chopped off the left side there, but RSI of 3, trust me. I just look at what's that dotted line. Oh no, that's the day. Sorry, I'm kind of paranoid. I have no template on this account, so it's like a real brain teaser. Yeah, that's also, this is the daily chart. One level of zoom out. Now, one level of zoom out from here to here is like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? This is so much data. How in the fuck? I mean, this right here is so complicated from the standpoint of, well, what to do next. From a breakout trader, low volatility breakout, tight stop, scalp explosions, non-directional trades, breakout trades, you see dojis, you see small bars, you got to stack into that kind of trade methodology. That the market's asking you to just do that. And then you have the holes that we see that go really deep back in the past, the holes where the market hasn't been. So that is the vacuum structure, and then you have the, what has it just done? What's it doing in context to the giant hole that it's this building that it's running around inside of? How's it getting there? Is it bouncing off the walls? And so when the market's just chopping along and it's noisy, people are like, what the fuck do you do with that? Most people would either rather get killed in a trade or make money in a trade, but they don't. The last thing they want to do is sit in a trade that's not going anywhere, and maybe doubt their trade. There's all sorts of mental things that the market doesn't know you exist, but you may feel like it's after you because you're like, God, really? Like, and the thing is that the pace of the market is so. Like just this rally here, one day clean, engulfs, like takes out like 3 days of highs and just clears them out. Now, granted, you're not necessarily selling new highs like this without the view of this hole in this big giant buying spree as it crushes down in this stupid ass 14 period moving average. If this is your baseline, you just never. You're never going to do that trade, right? You're never going to be the guy that's buying this hole, this hole here, right? Just blindly on limits. Your trade plan has just been stacked in here, and the deeper it goes, the more you buy. And your first ticket exit's going to be right here, right? You're going to get out right at the beginning where you got in. And it actually engulfs that, right? Now, that's the daily chart. Now, not trading reversals is just got to be the worst thing to do. That's where all the money is. The fast money. Because in one day, it's down. Now, anybody that buys big down days with wide stops, can we see their trade plan? I think it's easy. Let me get up my toolbox here. So, to me, it's easy to see that guy's trade plan. That idea, that strategy, we can all see that. Are we at the end of each day, and 28 currency pairs, I'm going to have to try that. I would use at least the RSI so I could do a quick and dirty analysis of like, this looks like a two period divergence here, Let's get in. We're underneath here. We just went stop hunted these guys. Plus we have momentum dying out underneath this floor, this hole. I'm like, yeah, let's get in. But then maybe I'm like, oh, you know what? Can't take the other trade on the British pound because correlated currencies. I'm already in one instrument. That's another thing that doesn't make sense with this guy. If you built an algorithm that's so good, and here, this isn't quite divergence here, but you can see this almost was divergence. Why aren't you milking the shit out of that concept? And I think this could be a reversal here, right? From here to here with divergence. So this is a huge setup. As far as lack of momentum in the last known price pulse, and even your 14 period baseline bullshit nails that trade. And this is the argument for, well, we're making money because we got in here, we moved our trailing stop, we made this much, so shut the fuck up. We made 5%. But why is it that you can't trade this? And it is very bizarre. I think it's a political thing, honestly. The more I think about it, it's like, well, we just don't do that around here. What are you fucking in? What else are you into? So see, this low here is so important because this is where it really starts to be like, wow. And if you can get a vacuum, there's a little baby vacuum underneath this, the deepest low back. So the first crush in, and this is when people are cashing. They got to be cashing out. They already knew their exit. Anybody that trades limit holes is going to know that, right? They're going to be like, well, dude, we're getting out here. This is where the buyers come in, right here. Always. Sure, there's some buyers that come in here and they're finally back to break even once they got the fuck out, and they're going to get the fuck out again, and maybe it's going to keep crushing north. And we close out here. So who knows what the fuck's going to happen? But the whole point of candlesticks is, dude, 3 dojis in a row is telling you, I don't give a fuck. You know, there are books on candlesticks, and this rarely happens. Now, if you did a back test of the rarity of that, and you had a trade plan for that with this amount of pippage, with it's going to scalp out of 5 positions as it explodes out, then you're talking, right? You don't need to back test that. When you saw this doji, you should have had an aha moment as it came back and revisits the dojis, right? So the dojis are pivots. That should be obvious. Pivot, reversal, right? And this is the one that kills people, is this one. On the 4 hour, I bet this is a beautiful reversal on the 4 hour, but you can see the hint of the, here's the obliteration here. Also, you can draw trend lines on RSI, which this enables you to not have to mark up your chart. So if you don't want to make a line chart, just draw your trend line on RSI. You're going to get in at the break of the trend line of RSI. That's how you trade RSI. Why would you go to another indicator? This is like, you got this really hot girl at home, and dude, you're renting porn? Like, what are you doing? So, but people do that, right? I get it. But they're doing their charting, It's sad. Like, did you commit to the RSI? Look at this beautiful divergence here. After we're actually I'm allowed to pull the trigger. Like, you could give a goober this fucking thing. Yeah, just pull the trigger when you blow here. Well, I did what you said. We got long here, and we got out of that. Yeah. You come home, that's not so bad. I told you to get out here at the 70. I did what you said. I sold there. There are people. Now, certainly, when it goes into a hyper range and then all of a sudden the market goes from 100 pips a week to 400 pips a week, and people are like, dude, Bitcoin's like, at 100, or it's at 10 grand, or it's at 40 grand. I mean, the wheels are going to come off at some point. I just went to the store to buy some oil today, and I'm like, there you go. And I've always said, what's the threshold, right? You go to places that are like, this is $1. I'm like, dude, you're going to have to cross the tracks on that. That thing's going to be so cheap, it's not going to make sense. At some point, there's a tipping point. There's a saturation point, too. Look at this thing stampeding north now. So, wouldn't bother me to go long right here. Into Asia, of course, a little bit, but definitely always buying shallow. Very close to the market. So, I'm putting tickets in one case. 3 pips deep, 5 pips deep. Now, I've got 1 hours. So, I just added 1 hours to it. So, I'm not ready to go into this big crank thing. And I kind of want to run the same... I'd have to write one that's different for the other currency pairs. You have to write a custom depth size based on that market. So the guppy moves really big, and you need to have like wide stops and wide staggers. You can't just take your robot from a hard set robot and just build it on Eurodollar and then just think you're going to run the algorithm on 28 currency pairs. Another harebrained concept. And maybe you're, I mean, the chance of over trading that's certainly got to be a jumbo chance of over trading that. I ran out of tape on my last video, so I got to be careful. 25 minutes in, I'm already paranoid. So, but on the daily here, in the candlesticks, don't play in the candlestick because you don't have a plan for it. The big giant bullish candles, and let's not forget either, there's some hedge fund or something, some good big boy coming in, and he's selling here. He's selling here, he sells, and he's done. If it's up big, he sells. Well, guess what? He's up on all those tickets when we come down here. And maybe he takes the whole position off here, and what you know, he breaks even. Yeah, that's why this, in some regards, this top is a bottom here, because if you sold that, your chance to go flat is here. For all the people that were wrong, this is their chance to roll over and go, oh boy, we still got another hole to fill to here, and we crush, and then we reverse. I mean, you're waiting seriously. But this is it. This is how you get 91,000 subscribers. But I'm not really pushing hashtags and all my stuff like this guy must be. He must be on Facebook or something. I don't know. I don't really care. To me, I don't want to be known for. I'm like him in a lot of regards. I'm not going to put my face out there and sell a course. So he's not selling a course, but I guess the end game there was that he led people like a Pied Piper with all his kind of light blasting of indicators, blaming indicators. He's an indicatorist, that blame the indicator. If you come as an indicator, you better have an indicator's voice. If you're going to use an MACD, you better have an MACD voice. Don't even show up on my chart, bitch. So that's why I bring RSI, because it's relative. It's like Einstein shit. It's the theory of relativity. That's why the relative stink index was created, was the theory of relativity. We all fucking know that. But getting back to the chart here. So time frame matters to the RSI ist. And if we go to the 1 hour chart, you got to be like working. You got to take those pips because the signal's there on that 1 hour. The daily chart, RSI kind of nailed it here. I must say, RSI is the winner. 3-period RSI, overbought, oversold. It's just buy low, sell. Perfect oscillator. It loves noise. Yeah, when it goes into a hypertrend, parabolic, yes, you cannot just be selling like a fucking complete moron. As soon as it gets here, maybe. Okay, and you're about right here. You're about right here, and this is the first down legs here. So yeah, you can't see it here. If this is a line dot indicator, which would be cool. You can see here is the close of this one. And so you can also, and this is another thing, if you're really into RSI, is run RSI of pure lows. And you'll see a divergence in the vacuum, right? So underneath here, I don't want to say what it reminds me of, but this area is very important, right? From just the new low standpoint, and if you do RSI and lows only, this is closed right now, it's saving me going to the closing chart. Plus, I can say dumb shit like, see this top become a bottom in RSI? And this is when I really thought about tops become bottoms, is when the RSI guy said, see, that's the top become a bottom. I go, you're fucking right. And actually, so this sell-off here if it is higher than this, and this is lower, it's kind of like a reversal. So it's your first reversal in a way too. If you really want to push it, and that's what you do when you do trend line breakout, pull back to the trend line entries, is what you're saying is that I believe this is a place to draw the trend line. And as soon as we break and pull back to it, which can't kind of, maybe on the 5-period RSI it looks better, but it's the idea that you're not going to buy here. You're waiting for the pullback. And most people are, and there's people that bought, like me, I buy this. I just set it and forget it because, you know what? I got time for this shit. I can't stand watching this shit. Now, when London opens, sure, it's fun. But, Asia, like, if you put on a hedge here and go to sleep, if you put in end of the day and you just say, you know what? Dude, if they go down here, they're going to they're going to rack this fucking area. If they go up here, they're going to rack that. So why not just put a buy stop, a stack of buy stops? There's a million fucking ways to make money. Right now it looks like it's going up. If there's a million ways to make money. If you just sat there and said, well, I'm just going to stack fucking tickets when the market gets very, very quiet. I'm going to stack tickets, confirmation, God forbid, and non-directional. I don't give a fuck which way the market's going. Very few people can trade like that, but it makes money. And then I back tested it and it didn't work. Yeah, because you didn't fine tune the stack to the volatility. You're just stepping in like a goober going, well, I have a guitar. Dude, it's got 500 strings on it. Pick a string. Or you've only got 3 strings on you got 1 string on your guitar. It's more like that. Instead of an orchestra, which is really what you're trying to orchestrate all these 28 pairs and have order banks pre-cut into the market. You can put all the RSI in the world on that thing. The RSI is a at the market unfolding situation. It's a reference of volatility over time, because when it makes a stampeding move, it's like, wow, that is like a big deal. And it's also clean, it's sharp, there's no ambiguity. It's overbought, it's oversold. But what is the volatility of it, and are there any patterns in that? So without having to really, okay, it's a way to actually have a trade plan too. Because you can say dumb shit like, I'm going to put buy limits. When we get down here, I'm going to either buy at the market, or let's imagine that when this pulls back here, that the market may make it this deep. If this pulls back deeper, well, we're not in that situation right now. If this was, we're kind of there, but let's imagine it pulls back here and the market's higher when it does. It's off the chart a little bit, but then we're going to start buying anything below here because we know we're in reversal land. We don't think that we're looking at the weeklies and we're saying, no, we're going after these fuckers. Like, yeah, after we clean out this hole of goobers, the bears, we're going to stop on the bears right now into the end of the month, I suppose. It's going to take a while to test that if we ever make it there, or we're going to pause here once again and just come back and forth. And all the people that sold at 70 or got out of their winnings are going to love it. Now, if you go hog long short here and you back test that, yes, I think you definitely will blow up that account, and that trade strategy is totally bullshit. You can't deny this hole. You can't ignore the structure. You can't just look at your speedometer and claim that I've driven this road before. Dude, there's a tornado on the fucking road. It is not the same road. You never step in the same river twice, right? And when you step in, you're a different person too. So it's a fluctuating situation. You may find yourself making money from the dumbest fucking trade in the world, and then the one that you worked so hard on, and you built all the back testing and all the safety, like a fucking car seat for your baby. Dude, nothing in this world is going to prevent some dumb shit from just pegging your car at the intersection. if you go through intersections. Now, you could stay home and have everything shipped in from Amazon and hang out in your yacht and say, well, I'm just going to take the chance I don't get hit by a hurricane. But life's risky. And this whole thing about the risk warnings just cracks me up. You know, when you get people so afraid of money, they seem to have a hard time. I'm like, oh my God, really? Money? Okay, so yeah, I mean, then they say, oh, well, you know, geez, you know, hey, geez, you know, it's like so personal. Here looks like we're going to just drift up into Asia here now, and maybe by the end of the week we are. One more day, clean up, and just go ba-bam. But, you know, that's my dream. So everybody has a dream, and the RSI people that have gotten out here sold into this a little bit lightly, but I'm never going to go in hard on any one fucking strategy. It just doesn't make sense. If you don't have a strategy for what's going on, you just step aside. You can see what those people need to do to make money. And once you realize, yeah, I can't jump out of a perfectly good airplane. I just can't dive into the market like that. I need to have my fibs, my fucking baselines, I need my survival kit. I need my toothbrush. I need my whatever. You know, it's tough. It's because you can't just take advantage of shit that's chaotic as fuck. And you're like, yeah, who couldn't see that shit coming? And then, of course, when it reaches saturation point and everybody agrees, we have a doji. So there's the fucking insanity of vicious volatility streaking in one direction. There's only, I think, two painful moments. Is either you're in the trade, it's not going anywhere, it's in dojiville, or it's going against you very quickly for very longly. I can't think of anything, or you're, the other painful thing would be that you're not in the market watching it go sideways and you're like, I can't fucking trade this, or it's going without you. It just took off and you're not even in the trade. But that would presuppose that you haven't laid limits into where you thought the market was going in some kind of, dare I say, empowered trading strategy, where you place orders in Disneyland and hope somebody comes and gets them. But we know that if the market drops 10 pips or 20 pips, that it could bounce 5. It's high probability the market could drop in the next 2 hours that, and you start to accommodate what can happen, not what you want to happen, then it's easy. But then it's the work of placing those tickets. So, yeah, the work involved in doing that and setting up like an account like that, that's going to take advantage of 28 pairs and you just put limits in. Yeah, it's going to take some, you're going to have to do hand drops on all those tickets. I can't imagine having a one-click or a robot come in and manage that. So, yeah, you're going to have to discover what kind of targets are you going for. 3 pips? Okay. You could probably make 3 pips. If you babysit a chart and it's just quiet enough, the market's drifty enough that you can trend trade a drifting market, sure. And there's people that do. I mean, I can go into Asia and see, yeah, we're just going to drift up. We might get a couple spike backs here, but this looks like a classic fucking, where you're like, you know, it's not the moving averages in RSI that's causing the market to move like that. It's just moving like that, and you're trying to build soft airbag shit technology on top of something that would rip an airbag to pieces in the real world. I mean, it's not like the real world. And I just gotta be laughing my ass off right now because I know the markets are choppy right now, and if people don't have a chop plan or a dumb shit range plan, they are like these trend traders. I mean, it's mind-boggling. How do they do it? I gotta have. There must be some therapy out there for people that are sitting on their Ranko, waiting for it to spit out a so-called signal, and then they put on some. Oh, you know, it's past my ATR. I guess I'm out. Well, just trade on money. Don't trade ATR. Trade how much money you can afford to risk. Start from the amount of money you're gonna blow up. Just assume you're gonna blow up the account, so then you don't have to worry about that. you're going to lose $500, whatever it is, or $100 5 times. You at some point you realize, it's going to take a lot of work to integrate the first and 10th ticket. If you're going to do 10 tickets, which I would say it's better to do 10 tickets and realize how much work it really is going to be than to think that you're going to put a Gartley up there and get some amazing optimal trade entry. It's more like optimal trades entry. Like, there's no way you can just live off of one trade, because it means you would have had to get so fucking big on that trade that you don't have to trade anymore. And if you did that, anything that moves against you, even under low leverage situations, if you're getting in really big to make money, supposed money. I like how the no-nonsense guy led everybody down this road and ended up into some 20-to-1 leveraged account that he's getting some type of kickback for the people that are signing up for this guy. 91,000 subscribers talking about indicators. How bad RSI is. The problem with RSI, it's too simple. It's just too clean. And people don't like that. Don't want it complicated. Give me a Renko. Give me fucking this. They love that shit. Complexity worship rules because it's kind of this validation that I'm smart enough to get this shit. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, all the books, yeah, they're cute. 300 pages. I got this book by William Eng, E-N-G. Dude's got like moving averages out to 256, 512. It's nuts, this stuff is wackadoodle. Would you have a trade plan for that? Well, not really. Why would I need something like that? Yeah, why would I need something like that? But when you see how clunky these markets are and how god awful they really are, from a standpoint of you're going to backtest your algorithm, that's so cute. I love that. How's that working out? Well, we making 5%. Why you bother, dude? You must make more of that in your day job. 5%. Why bother? So look at this. Look at this Sue Lee guy. He gets it, dude. He's all in. I was talking to somebody and they told me that the guy, I don't watch the show, but the guy in Jeopardy was all in. He started at the bottom of the rack. He was putting in standard lots like a samurai. It's like cleaned up on Jeopardy. He's starting, give me the daily double. Just give me the whole fucking rack. He stacked that thing and he's fucking stepped up to the plate, even though he was way ahead. He's like, nah, go for it. I'm all in. But he knew his shit. I guess he knew that he could handle it, So all those tickets you have in there, and then if you're going to set them in there like a minefield, and then I guess 28 pairs. It'd be fun, right? See how that goes. It's a lot of work. I would say go to the weeklies. You look at 28 pairs on the weeklies, you go, yeah, these guys, that one's got the better spread. Fucking, it's the same thing. Where's he getting these currencies from? What the fuck is this? Australian against the yen, Australian against the... Dude, whatever against the yen. The tightest thing against the yen. How are you fucking... Has anybody ever looked at 28 fucking charts at once? I guess I used to. I've done it. But the similarities between some of the pairs, I'm like, dude, it's like it's the yen. You can see the yen's just depleting the shit out of these other pairs. Like, just pick a pair. Just pick a pair, dude. I mean, you got to be kidding me that you're going to... Well, this is the better of... How in the fuck is your brain at 28 pairs? Really? Okay. You got 28 tablets. Each account has a pair. Yeah, I could do it. Look at it. I blew up that fucking yen CAD shit. I didn't even know that was a pair. Is that... or is it yen CAD yen or yen CAD? The euro to the CAD. You want a blistering currency? Euro to the New Zealand. There you go. Spread's 36 all of a sudden. You're trying to scalp in Asia. Looks like a good setup. Look at that fucking indicator. That's nice. Another reason why No Nonsense keeps it on the dailies, right? Because he doesn't want to be caught in any over trading from false patterns and the hocus pocus stuff the bankers are doing out there. You see these guys at the restaurant. You're like, I bet that's one of them over there. Look at that fucker, big banker, sitting with Robinacci. Oof. Look at these guys. Machine gun their feet. What the fuck are people thinking about these? I just love to see and of course, no nonsense guy is not giving out any signals. He did a video, and I have to track it down, about what he sees for gold market and all these markets. And you better go buy some real North Korean, whatever they are, coinage. All this stuff. I would say that is the place to go. He didn't say that. I say that. Let's fucking get the real estate. Let's lock a Trump. I heard Trump's. A lot of people don't want to talk about this, but Trump is going to. He's already got some Largo thing up there, some Key Largo hotel he built up there. Can you imagine? It's coming. Sorry, I just think that's so funny. Trump is the most comical person in the world. Make a giggle like a girl. So, yeah, tonight, coming into this Asian session, sure, I would just put my buy limits like 5 pips apart, all the way down for 300 pips, and I'd put in 40 standard lots on each ticket. Demo account's got 100 grand in it. Sure, that sounds like a good trade plan. So it really doesn't matter. I do think it's fascinating that how we project our wants, and we think that we're in sync with the market and that we agree and we see what the market sees and what the market wants. That's the funniest comment I've ever heard. Oh, I can see what the market wants. Can you? Dude, I can't see what the people at Starbucks want. I'm like, what do you want from me? I mean, they never have half and half in the fucking containers. I'm like, are you just trying to... And today the girl came over and said, I wish she was hotter. She said, hey, I had to milk the cow myself. I'm like, wow. Don't get me started. I was like, really? Gosh, really? You never hear the pretty girls say stuff like that. It's nuts. But I do think this could be a scoop area here. I'm looking at this wicks here. It really sticks out at me. I'm not looking at the moving average. It's funny. I can ignore that very well. I can see the dumb shit. Here's a nice Alexander Elder entry, is that as soon as you come, or I actually call this my own, I call this Simple Tin River Index. This is the river, and this is the trend, and your baseline. And you want to buy in pullbacks. So what you do is anything below the river, on the other side of the river, you just buy. And that would also mean you'd have to buy here, though. Like if you told a robot, buy everything below the river, as long as this is a nice, strong river. This is also instant karmic cloud trading, because you're just buying because, dude, it's the contrast of this is underwater. This is such a severe momentum pullback. That's what's giving you the reversal. It's such a deep pullback and such a kind of nice, strong trend, but that's maybe not what's driving that. What's really driving it is the fact that it went down here and it triggered this thing, like triggering a liberal. Down here, right here, this wick, as soon as we invaded that, holy shit. The weekly stop bots have been stopped out. How do we know? We go to the weekly chart. Do you have to go to the weekly chart? Maybe. I don't think I have to know that this low existed. So after we went up here, this low did not disappear. This support area this really is support. It's a real thing. Why the no nonsense guy? Support and resistance isn't real. No, not really. I think it is real. It comes back here again. And it comes back here. It's almost like that's support. Almost. Then, we also have that short-term exit people that are only willing... If this is the noise level that people are willing to trade on a daily basis, Buy, sell, buy, sell. Just binary bullshit. Buy, sell, buy, sell. Then, oh, and here's a reversal. I just missed it. Right here. See, didn't even see it because the candles are on. I want to put the line chart on. I should put the 1 period moving average on top, but then it kind of conflicts. We can't switch back and forth and go wax on, wax off. So let me go to the line chart. Where's my line chart? So here's the reversal in RSI. Now it gives you a sell, but it doesn't keep going because it's about over. This is like the last reversal in RSI. And you could make this the claim that you got confirmation from your baseline there. So you got baseline confirmation on that entry. I like what you're doing there, son. I can see it now. Yeah. But if you look at this from a closing standpoint, when you're trapped above close like that, and this double top doesn't become a bottom, and people are getting crushed, and I've marked off, you can't see it now, but there's a hole here. But it's more than that because these are the dojis. When it goes flatline, you know this is a doji without looking. You know this is a doji without looking. Anytime the market barely moves, this is like the last trend trader's entry is this baby pullback. Time to get in. Now on 28 pairs on the daily, yeah, on the line chart I could probably do it. I could take a glance at this. I could go, this would be my template. I might get rid of the I'll get rid of this dumb shit. So let me just get rid of that because that kind of fucks it up. Let me get rid of this moving average nonsense. I'm just kind of making fun of it because no matter what we set that at, there's going to be the 5 period moving average that gives you a beautiful entry right here, you know, and a beautiful entry here to sell, and this is your trend, right? If you're the guy that's buying because it's going up, there's also a guy, don't forget, that's selling on the 3 period moving average, touches here, and he's like, dude, we're going to break this trend line. We got a triangle here. We're going to break out, and we're already overbought, right? We're overbought. I'm selling because it's overbought like a fucking idiot. Here I got a reversal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 period reversal into the structure floor on close. Doji's out. It's going to backfill this vacuum. Then it has to fill this hole. Is it going to fill this? Maybe. But it looks like the problem is this hole is looming. Just like this fucking hole was looming. Yes, they do loom. When the market starts to tank, it's leaving this big hole behind. You get this beautiful 2 period divergence. These 2 period divergences are so sharp, so dirty, quick and dirty on the daily. 5 p.m. Even though nonsense could get his brain around, you can't understand what a divergence is. Poor guy. You don't get it. Show me the divergence thing again. Some people cannot see that. Could you show that to me again? Actually, I'm going to say this is a reversal here. Look at this. Very subtly, a little bit lower price, certainly more overbought. It's like the last failed divergence too, I would say. Not really. Well, kind of. If you put this on a 2 period RSI, there's probably a little divergence here. Kind of a little dead cat bounce and then foomp. Not quite divergence here, but I would say that is, to me, that's divergence enough. Double bottom with momentum starting to come back. It's on a daily. I'm going to go down to the 15-minute chart for my entries. If I'm going to scalp out something on the 15-minute, I go with 15-minute right now. So can you get a trade on in Asia here for the next, so it's been 50 minutes into Asia's beginning. I still think we could pull back, so I'm going to put in my limits. Coming in 5 pips deep, 10, 15, all the way down. So as I'm streaming it, as I can build the account up big enough here. Yeah, I'm trying to get something that I can use as a diversion against my scalping on the tablet, and I do want to set up some type of account that I need some local victims to watch the account for me. So I need to pay these people, and I'm trying to figure out how much to pay them. to execute my harebrained, because it's easier. I say, here, do it, right? Because if I'm just going to sit there and power scalp something on my tablet, I don't really want to sit there and put in, these are perfectly good trades, but I can't watch fucking the guppy. I'm just going to throw up. I just going to throw up. It's like, dude, I got time for this bullshit spread. So that's too annoying. But yeah, you need some type of, you can't do it all. I mean, you can do as much as you can to, it depends how long you want to be in the market. If you don't mind being in a trade for like 2 weeks, you can make 800 pips, right? But would you rather make 80 pips in 3 hours on a blast because the market came down and retested where it was yesterday? It's something that's right around the corner. It's like going to the party store. It's a dumb shit trade. There's so many dumb shit trades. Why are people overthinking it? So putting in the tickets and capturing whatever chaos, either north or south, for the noise trade, then you have your maybe the end of the day candle trading system. Maybe you have a 4-hour trading system. But when you commingle it, and then how much attention do you give the 4-hour chart? Well, you have to give it more attention. It's a daily strategy conflicting with your 4-hour. It is if you have a hard-written algorithm of a 34-period moving average, and you take that template and you move it from thing to thing. If you religiously follow the so-called signals, yes, they're in conflict because you got time frame issues. And if you're really going to build that shit, you'd put MT5 up and you would trade 1, 2, 3, 4-hour charts or something like that. You'd have some type of way to smooth out that clunkage. Or you have a 12-hour chart and you have 12-hour candles, but then, right, so are you trading a breakout of a 12-hour candle? God, I hope not, right? I mean, hopefully you're in by the completion of some insane 12-hour move. You hope. I don't think anybody wants to sit in a trade that's not going anywhere. But if you're not adverse to building a position when it's not going anywhere and accept the fact you might lose a few tickets because the volatility spiked up just a skosh before it went your way, these are all things you have to emotionally withstand, because we've all done these trades. I'm speaking to people that have traded a lot and understand that times they've made a ton of money in an instant. I mean, a ton of money compared to what, or they lost a lot of money in an instant. It's a different feeling, I suppose. How vicious the market can get for no apparent reason, too. Now, certain news that's pretty light can move it hard, and news that's supposedly big can move it soft. So I don't know if the news is really... You can kind of see that these holes form. You'll see a market drift, and the news comes out and it slams. Drift and slam, because it's just kind of walking. It's just cocking the gun slowly. Then other times, drifts, and then it rockets in the same direction it drifted. But from a breakout standpoint, person doesn't mind slippage on some tickets, and there's a price in the probability, right? There's a higher, I don't even know. So, I just wonder. I'm so curious as to, well, I guess I get it. The amount of people that are so into this no nonsense, because I feel that they are saying that it's nonsense. People are speaking nonsense about the market. And just show me something. Like, they don't want to hear about the London breakout. They don't want to hear about the 3-day reversals. The idea that you can have this, I think I found one of the situations that can happen, like this all gaps fill, just dumb shit like that. I mean, and then, I back tested it, doesn't work. Who's doing that? Like, who really thinks that it's like, yeah, I got this trick. I just say this, and every girl is like, oh, what are you doing later? I mean, it's never happened. You get hit in the face so many times. The market is kind of like dating your typical psycho babe. Are you really up for that? Most people aren't. I guess it's the attraction for me is that It's never a dull moment with these motherfuckers, especially the big bankers, which you can count on taking you out to, Epstein's Island or something and gang raping you with MACD charts. Yeah, they printed them out on a 3D printer. Fuck, they were banging me with these things. It does feel like that. I'm sure for all the wounded traders, that show up at the doorstep of no nonsense. But this just comes to that stupid thing about you just have to figure out what kind of trader you are. Are you the guy that is going to build this really elite, with curb fillers and airbags, algorithm that's going to make you survive the next 10 years in the market? I don't know. I think you're going to see some wild shit. Like, I don't want to sound like one of these people, but the volatility is not that much right now. And if the wheels come off into the end of in a year and a half, it's going to be curious because I see the inflation is finally coming in. It looks like palladium's kind of driving it. It's the leading edge of, don't hear anybody talking about palladium prices on the news, but I'm not watching the right news channel, I think. I'm sure on Reuters and all that shit. I mean, when they're making, plus the stock market is cutting into that fresh. Here we come and getting filled on these limits now. So my limits are sending pending on into Asia here. We just got, we're 2 minutes from the top of the hour, so we're getting this top of the hour. The big bankers are coming in there. HDM market makers is what you're doing there, son, is what's going on. It's market makers. It's like a 2-pip spread here. Fixed broker. So, it's like, hey, we're going to trade the daily charts, Every day is like, wow, we wait 2 days to get filled on that for this pullback. Now, for some people, this is not a pullback. This was their trade. This was the pullback. It's so funny. If you talk to any trader, they'll be like, dude, what are you, fucking retarded? I got in here, I sold here, and I got out here. And you're like, duh, I got in here. Like, I took that trade and I went to here. And so could you be both traders? And that's the question. Can you be slightly like the other guy? A little bit. Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that dumb shit fucking breakout trade here. Yeah, I see that dumb shit trade. And I marked it off. So here's another trick is mark it off and then mark the wicks off exactly and come back and turn off the wicks and be like, oh, shit. That's like, this is where I think it's a problem. This is where you could really get into trouble. If you don't wait for RSI to get below 30 and you start buying this pullback because you're getting this reversal, you see this reversal here. That is the failure of that. Kind of a divergence into that reversal. You'd be like, oh, looks like a good place to get in. If you risk the whole account every time on that, that could be a problem. You may be trading too big on a ticket if kind of thing. Like, also having enough dry powder to know that at some point, one of these days, you're going to get this giant sell-off into your limits, and you'd be like, oh yeah, confirmation that they hit my limit. I knew I was right. I'm going to buy some more. I love that. And then when it goes down more, you're like, holy fuck, I actually had limits here. So it's preparing for the end of the world. People that prepare for the end of those preppers get it. Look at this fucker going north now. They're selling this because they're like, oh yeah, I'm selling up here. Yeah, they got a big wide stop. They're like, it's all right. It's going to be fine. Relax. Comes back to here. You'll be fine. But I think we're going after this now. And what does the 15-minute chart say? We've got 4 bars now in the new session. We see a reversal in RSI entry. At the market, we could have taken that trade. We didn't. It's a 2-period reversal. Right here. Right? So this is about, can you go to the 15-minute chart? Yeah, there's your buy. is that a legitimate trade? Can you backtest that on the 15-minute chart? Will it work? No, blow the fucking account up, because unless you got a fucking tight ass stop here and you buy right there really big at 5 p.m. and they don't bash the spread on you and stop you out, right? Also, with the 14 period moving average, now that we are on the 15-minute chart, it's tradable. There's enough setups to make it work. Here's your reversal. A little bit oversold, a little bit higher price. Moving average is confirming. This is untradeable here. You better be in the fucking market before this thing takes off. Here's divergence. Failure. Divergence. That's the reversal. RSI with line charts. Why are you running with candlesticks and saying it doesn't work? You can't see what the fuck it's doing. How can you claim to have half a fucking brain and criticize RSI without using it on a line chart? You gotta be full retard for that. So yeah, some guy said I was a hater. Dude, only if people are out of their fucking mind. So here you can see the reversal better. More oversold, higher price, and you can see the 15-minute structure. A triple top becomes a double bottom. But you got to babysit this, and you got to pull the trigger now and now. Buy. To really take advantage of building a position before the run, you buy. Maybe you did get filled on limits as you crash down here in 15 minutes, boom. But if you're short here, because of this is a bottom, became a top, and RSI sold here, better get out, man. That trade's over by here. This is the signal happens in here. When it's quiet and noisy. Reversal time, right? Trend trader's entry in the 15. Trend trader should be getting in here. Broke this trend line, pulled back, found support. It's a classic dumb shit setup. So yeah, the forex no nonsense guy is correct as far as, yes, you can do trend lines on your indicators just like you can do moving averages. Same thing. You're really getting in front of the market here, though. Now you're really pushing the indicator in a way. You're making it forward looking, and you can see the launching point here clearly. Break out, pull back, start buying at that pivot, which shows up in price a little bit less dramatically. If I stretch the time frame, I could do it. If I was to stretch this out, I could do it. But see, it's a crossover is here, and it does cross the trend line too. You're breaking that trend line. You're putting a hard line against a soft, and the moving average is like a perfect trend line. At this point right here on close, it is like damn straight going down. Plus the 15-minute chart's letting you do that. Now zoom out one level, and you're just gonna lose your mind, right? Although you can see here that I have to fix the scale to see it, but here is divergence at the very top. I don't know if you can see it, but right there, 15-minute chart. You're closing up into the structure that I marked off from the 4-hour chart. So yeah, all this is coming together. If you babysit the 15-minute chart, you can build a position in the direction that but see how subtle this last move is compared to this one? These are both the same, fractally speaking. And this trade plan works on all these patterns. This is the exact same pattern. This is a microcosm or a micro version of this same bullshit, is accumulation and kind of a drifting up, the alligator's mouth entry shit, whatever. Or this is where the alligator starts opening his mouth. And also you're beneath this, you're back to this pivot, you're underneath this floor, you've blown these people out, you blew these people out, you accumulate, you sneak away from the party, you go out, you rape somebody else. I'm just saying. So that's what they're going to go rape the bears now. So they could just keep going up, right? And you would take your signals. Now, you don't want to go to the 5-minute chart when the market's really quiet, because now you're going to be like, oh, dude, you can't. But you could see it on the 5-minute chart. The beauty of RSI is you can see it on the 5-minute chart with closing prices, but you can't see it with candlesticks. I'm so sorry. Like, this reversal here is so clearly spelled out that, yeah, it's okay to buy this pullback on the 5-minute, because, yeah, you could get a few more ounces out of that thing. But this divergence here at the top is saying, uh-oh. But look at this major reversal on the 5-minute. But I'm talking a deep, like, you're buying anything below here, because this is the vacuum for RSI. This is the reversal territory. This is the momentum really drying up, and we're even at a higher price. Because relatively speaking, I'm actually going back deeper than the 3-period RSI there. If I mark something off this deep, it's really like a 20-period RSI in essence, but I can see it. I can connect all these reversals. Every one of these is at a higher price, technically speaking. This was the last one here on the 5. Coming into the, see that 5-minute rush? This is where it's overbought, and then here comes the close of the broker's window, and then bam, 5 minutes down. That's why there's spazzes at the end of the top of the hour, especially at the end of the day. Top of the hour, end of the day is a big deal. So if you went to the 1-hour chart, you could see that drama on the 5, and you could place trades at the market based on what RSI is doing. You know, they're not letting you, there's a platform where you can do it, where you can place orders on the RSI pendings, but this isn't it. But it is giving you at the market trade plans. RSI can do that. Now, nothing else can do that as cleanly as RSI. So don't blame the indicator, because you can't handle just like a tachometer. You need a speedometer. You try not to blow up the engine, okay? Maybe you do need a speedometer, okay? But if you really are running the engine in a sweet spot of like maxing out the account, like you're like, oh, I'm getting out, I'm going fucking seriously in on the half-hour chart because I see RSI's telling me at the market do this. But then at some point, you graduate to the point where you can see the RSI in your mind's eye. I know what RSI is doing now. I don't have to go to it. And that's when it's easier, right? So if you go to the 1-hour chart, that's when it becomes like, okay, half-hour chart, there's no trade. Now here, there is no, that setup's not occurring here, but you can kind of see a hint of it. If this was a little bit deeper pullback, you'd have a reversal here, and this would be your entrance. But here you have a double top clean on the half-hour, which translates to your triple top on the 15, and it's just on the clock. It's stupid. You could even say this is like a cup and handle, like this is the very last, and this is where people get killed. They're selling into this because they're, dude, look how overbought it is. I sold and I blew up the account. This is why you could never back test. Another thing is, you can't ignore structure and just sell because it's overbought. This is where people are like, dude, RSI blew up my account. I sold here and I sold here. Sure, it's okay, I made a few bucks, but then I sold here and I blew up the account. In fact, I sold more because it was really overbought. Because you couldn't look left. You couldn't see what happened last Tuesday. Or you couldn't have to see 5 days back, at least 5 days back. Actually, what's more critical is, what is the oldest void you can see back? Like, where is data even in existence to compare it to? There's no reference. The market goes ballistic into these holes. So you turn the bar chart. No Nonsense uses a bar chart, which is another good thing. See, the bar chart is telling me explicitly, these are the highs. As soon as we get above here, Katie, bar the door. Because if we cut into this tonight, it'll probably be like boom, and maybe we can scalp something off of that. The dream for the bears is it comes here, stop hunts the weak hands, and then it goes, keeps tanking. That's their dream. Right now, it's just a daredevil game of this window, and you can see the 8 and 6 pip guys will come in, and they'll pluck off these tickets at the very top. They'll be like, we're sell, 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 sell. Pull it back, cash out. They're done. They're out. Come back, rinse and repeat. But then, of course, if you do that and you put these in like this, what if this is really a breakout pullback and run? Or did you, when they were here and everybody was going short, the scalpers are going short, are you putting in buy limits here? Why not? Why would you limit yourself to this also? You have to be here for this trade. The market has to be here for you to put the buy limits here. The only trade you can place now is that it's a set and forget it trade, is to put sell limits in here and just go, yeah, you know what? Come and hit me. For you to buy here right now, are you going to buy at the market? Are you going to put a stop here, 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 here? Are you going to buy 3 pips deep, 5 pips deep for the next 10 hours? Are you just going to put a buy stop here and go, you know what? I need to have a lot of confirmation. And I'm going to put a stop down here. Am I going to, like, these are all things that would matter. There is no way in my mind that you could trade with such certainty that you could trade so big on every ticket that you're like, yeah, don't, I got it. Even with 300 pips stop, you're like, yeah, I can handle a drawdown. You're pretty big, buddy. Yeah, I know. It'll be fine. Oh, no, I got a really tight stop, dude, because I'm low risk. Yeah, but you just spent so much on shipping and handling. You're ordering shit for $5. It's costing you $2 for shipping. Now you got to sell it for $13. You got to wait for a customer to come in and want 13 or some other grandiose number, and it might happen. The market may come to you. Now, also, if your pending's out there and you're not getting filled, you're like, well, this isn't trading, but it really is. Having pendings is really trading, you know. So the game for me is, let me see if they can come to my ticket, and I'm going to put it as close as I can get it. And also, when the market's not doing anything, I have to really trade the breakout and say, who has the most looming vacuum, the bulls or the bears? If we start to invade that zone, and then if we really start to pound into the monthlies and stuff like that, and then the thing would just, if you're looking at these deep holes that go back 8 years and shit. Now, we're not near those prices right now in some instruments, and we've stepped to the edge. We've gone to see markets go into 7-year lows and whatever your lows is pretty crazy. And then you'll see it retract from there, and you're like, oh boy, that is literally the reversal point now. That's written in stone, maybe. Or maybe that's the first probe into that area, and we're going to keep going into that. So if you're a guy that can handle getting in with a 40 pip stop all day long off across the 28 pairs, great. But I would say if you can do that, you should go for the 60, the 20, the 15, the 8 pip stop and run them all. See which one you like. Because it's about how much fucking punishment can you take per ticket, per stop on each ticket in your, even if you were only trading 3 tickets a day, you're still going to trade for, if you trade for the rest of your life, how many tickets is that in the end? So at some point you just have to love trading. The execution, the button pressing, the whole idea of like, this is my expression. And there's an art to it, I suppose, because you're saying, I wrote this piece to capture this piece of music. Of course, the market can't hear you or see you, but you're putting your orders in areas you perceive to be of value, where nobody is right now, or nobody's been in a while. So if we revisit that, it's like the candlestick thing. I can love it or hate it. I can come back to it and go, you know, the more I look at it, the more I can understand it from what it offers as far as a discrete, bold view of binary up and down with volatility included. And the wicks aren't really emphasized enough for me. That's why I have the fatter wicks. You can fatten up your wicks. There's indicators out there to fatten your wicks, you know, I'm sure. Fat wicks. Just look at fat wicks or something. See, even with the bar chart, the RSI really doesn't work. It doesn't. People look at the highs of that bar and they're like, yeah, it's not divergence there quite, but it's so clean here. It's just so fucking clean. It's insane. How can you miss this divergence right here? This the 4-hour chart. Now, granted, on this broker, right there, it's boom. It's crazy. Amazing, right? Look at this beautiful line. And just but you'd have to put it on a line chart and really say, okay, yeah, it's happening right now. Okay, looks like we're going to rally into, we're going to go after this high of the month here now. I'm sorry, high of last week. We're going to probe into the high of last week now. It's not into Friday. Maybe there's some ADP bullshit coming out tomorrow. I don't know. Pay attention to that shit. It fucking makes me crazy. So stupid. FOMC's coming out too close. Dude, market move 5 pips. Come on. Why do I bother? Yeah, so maybe 28 pairs is the answer. That's what I should do. Do a 28. I'll call it 28 Pam. And we'll just put in, put 200 pips stops in. Look at this thing. They're coming in and filling me finally. I knew they'd bid this thing down hard. Those market makers. It's 18 minutes after the hour. What just happened? 15-minute charts updated. Got an RSI signal. Check battle stations. Ooh, nice reversal there. So you really can't make heads or tails unless you go to line chart. Line chart tells all. 4-hour chart. So you finally, well, this is your first divergence, really hard there. Gives you a reversal. Doesn't pay too much. Another reversal. Okay, not bad. Supposed your 14-period bullshit simple and moving average happens to agree on this 4-hour chart on this 1 week. Here's your breakout pull back to the trend line entry. Most people are buying down here anyways. I mean, it's just so silly. But, you know, I see what you're saying. Also, I could say here is the deep discount, very oversold. So this is the reversal I'm thinking. More oversold, slightly higher price. The structure within the structure, here's a break of the trend line. Come back, retest, people get in. Now I'm waiting for this to pull back tonight. So the obvious thing was to take your whole position off, and the candlesticks kind of give you this beautiful binary view of that trade. Take those all off the table and start over, rinse and repeat. Go to the dailies, or go to the daily chart, and you're like, oh yeah, we just went short right there. That's overbought. Duh. We got out there at the 70. It's short. Look at, we're winning. See, it works. Now, you know what? You got to hit that ticket about maybe 20 times and take 5K off and pay for this beautiful pullback. Look at this thing just scream back finally. Here we go. So you can always count on these shenanigans too. That this may be going up, but right now I'm getting a reversal in RSI. Anything below here I'm buying on the 1-hour chart. If it can close down here, but I'm getting filled on limits right now. So I put all my limits in here and I just let it go. At the end of the hour, if we actually close down here, I will buy at the market. We just broke out of these 2 hyper dojis. Now, you could have had that trade plan on. You could have went short here. You're just kind of like this, the spread, you can see it. It wouldn't be worth your while. But if you're going to buy half a pip apart all the way down, which the more tickets I can put in there, the better. I don't think it could drop that hard right now into Asia, but then, you know, we've seen some psycho moves, so it could happen. Look at that, 4 hours clean up, boom, out of that doji. Trade's over. No nonsense to be buying that on confirmation. Here we go. Comes the nice, easy entry. Set it, forget it. Look at that thing just drop out of that half hour doji stacking up. We're just finally backfilling now. At the end of the half hour, I'm going to buy. If it's down really big, I'm going to buy more, but most of my tickets are going to be on the way to this. If a top becomes a bottom, right here. So I'm buying into that top all the way down. So the pressure's off. We closed out hard at the end of the day, and I'm looking for the retreat entry. I don't think it's the time to sell it for it to go to par. You could tell me that this is overbought, moving averages down, but I think the big problem is this looming vacuum here. So that's why I'm preparing for that entry. I'm going to buy here and pull back. Get in there. Ride it to the moon. So I got to stop my video before I run out of tape. So we're in a hard disk space here. Solid state drive thing. It's got limitations. But candlestick charts aren't that bad, really. Don't blame the candles. People just leave the candles alone.